Oliver's with Blue Line Futures. And Oliver, as abysmal as that cotton export number was, it was a whole lot better for wheat.
A whole lot better indeed for wheat, and my golly, did the wheat market need it after the roller coaster that we've been on. We hit 23-week highs for weekly export sales, about 24.5 million bushels. So the wheat market's just been under an immense amount of pressure over the last 3 weeks. So nice to see a silver lining and some buying step back into the market here in today's trade. Hopefully we can get some follow-through into the last trading day of the week, the month, and the quarter. Prices were basically right back to where we were in March, 560. That's where buyers showed up earlier in the year, so potentially this is where they step back in. As the old saying goes, you know, low prices cure low prices. We saw that in export sales this morning, so hopefully we can keep the ball rolling from here and start a new month and a new quarter on strong footing for the wheat market, and potentially and corn and beans, if we can just kind of chew through the rest of this week, which we all know we have that big USDA report tomorrow afternoon.
You know, I think it's interesting. If you go to China, the only kind of movie you can't make in China is one that involves time travel. We can't time travel to Saturday and get past this report. So what are you watching specifically?
Well, this report is historically a market-moving report to impact with some surprises and certainly some volatility, and that can be illustrated by the CME vol index, where we see high volatility in corn and soybeans particularly. I don't know what we're going to get, unfortunately. I can't time travel, as you had mentioned, but one thing I would be looking for is the potential for a negative report having a friendly reaction. I think they've taken a lot off of these grain markets here over the last couple weeks, and I think it would be encouraging to actually see a bearish report with a bullish reaction. That would be what we would refer to as a fundamental rejection, meaning if they can't, take the market lower on bearish news, potentially all that bearish news is already baked into the cake. So that's just something we're keeping an eye on. I don't know if it's going to play out like that, but I think that would be something that we'd be looking for as a potential outcome following tomorrow's report.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. We've already seen that happen this week with the crude market. West Texas Intermediate gets some really negative news, and what do? We shake it off and move higher. And bring back Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures. Oliver, I just wonder if the weekly box beef moving lower had any impact on the cattle market.
Yeah, it may have. We had a nice move higher yesterday in cattle and just couldn't really find much follow-through in today's trade, which is a little bit of disappointment. But if you zoom out and look at where prices are, we're still seeing live cattle futures trade at their highest levels since October. So the market is still in a bull trend, and I think that's encouraging. We've seen a recent move higher over the last couple weeks as the futures try to play catch up with the cash market, which has been absolutely resilient, and some would maybe even go as far as calling it on fire. And a lot of talk of the cash market having a lot more upside potential into the end of the year. And I think one of the things that have maybe kept the futures market a little bit more mute is the potential risk, headline risk, with regards to bird flu and the consumers potentially slowing down. But we have not gotten a ton of bird flu headlines recently, and the economic data that we got this morning wasn't all that unfriendly either. So maybe that's what we need is just no new news on that front to get these managed money funds back participating in the livestock markets.
Yeah, there's so much money we keep hearing on the sidelines, just a matter of when we'll see that move back in.
Yeah, and potentially it happens when we get through this month and this quarter. Again, if we can avoid those negative headlines with regards to the bird flu and consumers slowing down, the funds really have a very neutral net long position, according to the Commitment to Traders report, looking at historical data. So if we can avoid those headlines and the cash market remains firm, I wouldn't be surprised to see them start adding to their length into the third quarter.
Okay, Oliver, great to have you. We'll talk to you again soon. Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures.